I'm a theatrical media and special effects makeup artist, and I'm going to show you some really interesting quick makeup ideas for your dance project. This is Jazz, my model.
Hi.
And we're going to make it quite simple. We're going to use products that you can just use, you can buy quite cheaply from hobby craft stores, supermarkets, and just have a go at doing something interesting and different. We need to remember that for a dance project, it's the same as theatre, you need to make it really bold, really accentuate the makeup and make it exciting so that people go away not just remembering the dance but remembering the makeup too. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to, Jazz has got this amazing purple hair, so I'm going to use a colour that really accentuates that. So think about what costume you're wearing. If you're wearing pink, maybe bring some pink into it. If you're wearing black, maybe go with black, but something really bold with it. So I'm going with some purple. I'm going to lighten it with something else on top. We're going to just make this quite simple, as I said. You don't need to buy lots of expensive makeup brushes. You can just get some cheap sort of art brushes. Things you got at school would be fine. So I'm just using a very basic water-based face paint here. Okay, so when you use this, try to work it up to a really creamy texture before you start putting it on. I'm just going to start doing my first idea onto Jazz's arm. I've done a design brief and I'm going to use that. So in your makeup pack you should find face charts and body charts. Design your idea, think about what you want to do, and then use that before you start doing the makeup. Okay, so here goes. So we're going with bold today. So yeah, this should pick out your hair nicely. So I'm going to start applying here. I'm just going to do this area to start with, only because we've got a short amount of time on this tutorial. I'm going to do the makeup just on Jazz's arm, then I'll finish it off and we'll come back to the whole effect. So I'm going to put this on, thinking about what's going to be showing when we're dancing. Okay, so I've got a nice neat line here, and then I'm going to build this up with something a little bit brighter. I'm going to go in with some a lighter purple, lighter pinky purple here. Done my main blocks of colour. I've put a different colour into it, so I've got a little bit of highlighting going on here. So I'm now going to move on to the next stage, and just thought I'd try something really different. I've just got some regular aluminium foil you can just get from the supermarket, and I've cut it into little strips. Okay, so little curved strips, different sizes, different shapes, and I'm going to glue those on. So for the glue, I'm just using, this is a really cheap sort of little glitter glue, but you could use just a little water-based non-toxic glue stick. So I'm going to take each one of these and I'm going to carefully glue, make sure each part of it, all of it's got glue on, only because when you're dancing you're moving, you don't want this sort of bending and creasing too much. So I'm just going to carefully apply all these bits, and I'm just going to do it in a random pattern. So I'm maybe going to follow the curve of just pressing each one down. Okay, so I've added on the little foil strips, they're all glued down. Now to highlight the whole area, I'm just going to take a black liner. You could use a fine paintbrush and some black paint. I'm just going to go around the edge of everything, and that will really make it pop. So just literally just drawing around the edge of the area that I've done. Okay, so I've outlined the edge to make each section pop. I'm just going to add a tiny last little bit of detail. I've started to put in a little bit of glitter. And again, you don't need to do this, but it just adds that sort of wow factor for it to catch under the light when you're dancing and moving. So I'm just going to put, again, a little bit of water-based glue just into this area. Then I'm just using a really fine, it's called magic dust, and I'm just going to add this just onto these areas, just so that they catch nicely in the light. Finish off really basic makeup. Guys, if you don't need this, but we're just going to add this for the girls. Going to put a bit of lipstick on here. Just going to add in some highlighting just to again catch the light. I'm going to put a little bit just under the brow bone here, and you can think about doing some on other parts that will catch the light as you're moving. Okay, so I've finished off the look. I've done the lips, and again I've added a little bit of glitter onto the lips, highlighting, and I've kept it really simple but bold. So when she's dancing, you'll see the effect. The silver will catch the light, and it's just again about keeping it simple, accentuated for when you're working under hot lights. And I hope you enjoyed that effect. I'm just going to do Jazz's face, but obviously you can do it on any part of the body. We're not going to use water-based makeup this time. We're actually going to just use some really bright colour eyeshadows. And again, you can buy these palettes really quite cheaply. You can go into like Superdrug or any pharmacist and get these kind of palettes. So we're going to start. I'm going to think about what area is going to really catch the light, and we're going to see. So I'm thinking about the cheekbones. So I'm going to start doing an effect here. I'm going to come here. I'm just going to show you how to do this one, then I'll finish it off and we'll magically get to the end. So here goes. I'm actually going to start with a bit of white makeup. I'm going to put a little bit onto my hand. I often use the back of my hand as a palette. So I'm just going to take this and prime the area with a white, and that's going to really make our rainbow colours pop. So I don't need to use a brush for this bit. I'm just going to let this bit soak in. And I'm just going to prep the area. I'm going to do it down here as well, I think. So just rubbing it in. You could use a water-based face paint for this part, so just a white face paint. If you use one similar to this, you'll just need to set it with some powder because it's a cream makeup, and that will absorb the other makeup otherwise. So we're going to use a powder in a minute. Okay, I'm just going to prep the area here. Powder. You could just use a baby powder for this if you need it. So I'm going to take this, and then that's just setting that makeup with the powder. If you use a water-based face paint, you don't need to set it with powder because it will just dry naturally. Okay, and then we're ready to start adding our colour. So using my palette, I'm going to start with my red here. So I'm going to come down here, and it's just going to be about building up our colours. This area here, and I've blended in all the colours, so I've highlighted it on top. I'm going to show you how I've done that on this little area here. So I'm going to again take a little bit of white makeup, just literally a tiny bit, and I'm going to put that over this area so it gives the illusion that it's highlighted. It's by the light, but it's actually the makeup that's showing through. So I'm just dabbing that on a little bit here. So just using my brush really lightly. And then I'm going to go over that again with the colours. So taking my purples here. And then over the top, I'm just going to take a highlighter. So again, just a cheap, you can just get these from the drugstore. Just going to go over that, and that will just really pop the colour. Okay, so you can see how it's catching the light there in the centre. Just do a little bit more of highlighting just down here. And again, you can think about doing that on other parts of the body. So the neck, the collarbone would be good, on the shoulder here, all those areas with the same effect would give a really good. Okay, so I'm just finishing off the effect just to, just adding in something else, just doing some tiny little dots, and that'll really again make the makeup pop. So as you can see, it's just a white water-based makeup, just following the shape of the makeup really. So following the curves, one over here, you can do another one here.